Hello everyone, Friday, June the 20th. For the first reading, we're remaining in 2 Corinthians, now we're in chapter 11. Paul goes through this litany of his criteria that qualifies him to be an apostle. He doesn't like to do this, but he needs to he's kind of smacking the Corinthians upside the head, saying, you follow these people and you have no idea how superficial they are. They lead you astray. You want to know what I've gone through? He said, talk about his credentials as a Hebrew, and you got to read that, how he suffered for Christ. And, this is not something he normally would talk about, but he needs to kind of reveal himself to these weak-spirited Christians, brothers and sisters of his. And besides other things, I am under daily pressure because of my anxiety for all the churches. I like that. Paul experienced stress, right? And so do we all experience stress. But he says, if I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness, because when I'm weak, then he is strong. So don't be looking for superficial things to have you run after people or run after reputations. Look for things below the surface. Look for things that normally are not seen, because virtue and credibility often happen in the background when nobody's looking, but they are manifested by solid character. That's what you need and I need to be looking on the lookout for. Not this superficial stuff that's like icing on the top of the cake, but rather the substantial stuff, the character, stability, fidelity, and things like this. It often is formed in the background when nobody's looking. That's what you and I need to be on the lookout for, as St. Paul is getting at. To the gospel, Jesus said to his disciples, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes. This is true, and we all have to look at this. I have far more than I need. You probably have far more than you need. We have to somehow cultivate a healthy detachment from this, a generosity with our financial resources to God. Because everything you have, not one thing is left. Everything, 100%, you're going to have to let go of when you die, period. Me too. Better now that we have control than when it's ripped out of our hands because of death. Have control with God's grace and do it willingly, lovingly. Be generous with your resources. Doesn't mean you can't have a lot, but act as if you don't really own anything, because you don't. And it's going to be left as soon as you die. That's it. So, use it well. These are tools that we have. Don't just build up for the sake of building up. And always be generous with what you have as God is generous with you. God bless you.